Hey guys, it's Jessica Leichtweisz. So I have a question for you. Have you ever looked at one of my posts, or have you ever watched one of my YouTube videos, or really anybody in the space of autism, maybe it's your child's teacher or therapist, and you wondered, well, why are they saying this behavior is a problem? Well, I'm going to say something that you've probably never heard said before. If you have to ask why it's a problem for your child, it's probably not. And here's where this came from. So I put a video up on my YouTube channel and it talks about when to redirect a child from lining up twice. And so a parent typed in a question and said, well, my child lines up toys, and yeah, it makes him maybe a little bit like weird, but if you ask him why he's doing it, he'll tell you, and he seems to like it, so I don't understand why it's a problem. And I said, well, listen, it's probably not a problem. But I've also worked with kids that when they line up toys, it is so challenging for them to be able to stop it that they start being compulsive to line up everything. So when they're in the shower, they're lining up the shampoo bottles. When they go to McDonald's, instead of having food, they're lining the straws up or whatever it is. And they become, number one, aggressive or self-injurious because it becomes this like neurological compulsion that they can't stop it. It's almost like an OCD behavior more than just a stereotype behavior. And so then it's obviously a really big problem and it has to be redirected. And I've seen cases where that's so severe, the child can't even be in a playground, in a classroom with typical peers. Maybe they won't ever be able to play with their other friends. Then I've seen kids just do it, and they do it just to do it. And it doesn't really interfere in any way, and there's no reason it needs to be stopped. You can just accept it as part of who they are. So, that's what I wanted you to know as a parent. And I want you to understand that whenever someone's making information like myself or anyone else you follow, our intentions are good. Our intentions are to help you, and our intentions are to serve you. And then the information is also going to be really, really generalized. You might watch one of my videos and say like, wow, this really, really fits my kid. This is really helpful information. And you might watch another video and you might think, well, I don't really see why I need to apply this. Well, maybe you don't need to apply it. The problem is that autism is a huge, huge spectrum. And today, because of insurance funding and the way things are, the definition of autism has changed over time. So now the definition of autism is far more encompassing than it was even when I first started practicing and working with kids 12 years ago. So there's things that are autism where children really have a lot of severe issues and restrictions on what they can do, and they need a very different approach. And then there's people who have autism traits where they might have their little kind of idiosyncrasies, but we all kind of do, and it just kind of makes them who they are, and they don't have any interferences with their everyday life or their ability to get married and go to school and have a job and be really happy and really healthy. And that's not always the case. So calling it the same thing can send mixed signals, and what that also means is that you really have to use discernment in knowing whether something does apply to your child or not. So that's my quote. I want you to really, that's my take home. If you have to ask as a parent, well, why is this a problem? It's probably not a problem. You can't just watch a video and just assume because it's a problem for one person, it's a problem for everyone. And it's okay to, let your child do things that they love to do and that maybe are a little socially awkward. And, if your child flaps their hands when they get excited, if it bothers anybody else, who cares? It's not your problem. It's not your child's problem. If your child flaps their hands incessantly and makes noises to the point that you can't go to the supermarket or you can't take them to go see a movie and interferes with their life, well, then it is a problem. But as a parent, you're going to know. You'll always know whether something matters for your child or not. So trust your intuition. Don't trust other people. Don't go around trying to make other people happy because you can never please anyone. Just do what you know to be correct for your child. So I really hope that this message was helpful for you. Now, I know school just ended. School ended this week in New Jersey where I am. And yet, everywhere you look, there's back to school stuff. Well, I don't necessarily think you need to be buying pencils and bookmarks and whatever it is kids need, notebooks, and storing them the entire summer to go back to school. But what I do want you to know is that if you're preparing your child for autism with school for the first time or transitioning back to a new classroom or a new school, the transition process that you need to help your child go through can actually take a few months. So now is the time to start thinking about it, not later. So I have a resource available for you for free. It will help you to really know what to do to help your child prepare for school, and also as a parent, what you need to be thinking about in terms of communicating with your teachers to make sure your child is set up for success. And that's a book that I published. I'm really passionate about helping families just like yours, so I put it on the internet at no charge for you. It's 30 pages of like phenomenal information. It even includes a social story you can use to make sure your children are really successful. If you want to download that, you can do so at schoolwithautism.com. That's my gift for you.